Toddy, Ole Miss fans, and welcome to the Brad and Chad Show on the OM Network. Brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA. This is the show by and for Ole Miss fans, where you'll get expert insight and analysis on Ole Miss athletics. And now, here are your hosts, former Rebels Chad Flowers and retired NFL star Bradley Sowell.
Podcast time.
Seven and 0 in the driver's seat of the SEC West, and yet some people think that the sky is falling. Brad and Chad Show. Bradley Sowell, how are you on this fine Sunday morning?
Good, man. Just coming at you live from a Weaver establishment. So this will be fun. We got I'm sitting in Nick's office. Man, he has some interesting stuff in this place. So fun, man. I mean, what a day yesterday. I was at the game. Had to watch the game, go back and forth. My kids are playing softball in Oxford. So I mean, of course we got softball going on. There's no,
of course, yeah. Why not?
So at the ballpark all day after the game, but I mean, unbelievable environment. It kind of get mixed feelings about this game. Kind of a little bit of both. Man, that defense leaves a lot to be desired there, but man, what a day. At the end of the day, Ole Miss always struggles with Auburn. Tough SEC matchup. You're gonna have to win some of those. We're first place in the West. Probably gonna be moving up a couple spots in the rankings as well. Ole Miss they got it in front of them. They really do.
Yeah, I was gonna say you look like you're in the smallest room possible for your body size. And,
I think if I stand up, I'll whack my head. We got the old Kentucky Fried Chicken box behind me. I mean, Nick's got some stuff probably from I don't even know, man. There's a Coke can over here from like the 30s. I mean, it's interesting room here.
Yeah, just a random assortment of pictures in the background. Definitely interesting here. Oh, I'm glad to see that you've been eating already this morning, so that's good to know. That's great.
Kentucky Fried Chicken box from, I don't even know. Somebody on the pod that can see that, let me know. Man, that's pretty that's interesting. Box.
So you said the Grove was pretty wild yesterday.
Man, the Grove was awesome. The environment in general was awesome at the game. It was cool. I mean, it really was. The weather delay obviously made the end. Sure. I think people just pretty much flooded back to the Grove, but it was packed. I mean, I got there 8:30 or so, and man, it was loaded. So, really awesome environment. I mean, just a cool deal. And then obviously everybody's watching the Alabama-Tennessee game afterwards in the Grove. And man, when they made that kick, the Grove went crazy. It sounded like almost scored a touchdown. So it was awesome.
That was a wild game. Did you go to Square Jam on Friday night and go to?
I was on the Square. I didn't go to the Square Jam. I was around, walking around and stuff. So we went to Blue Delta's party. It was cool. Nick got on stage. He gave a speech, which was always awesome to watch.
Take 45 minutes.
No, he did good. He did good. I was proud of him. He was a few drinks in there, so he usually could talk straight.
That's the one time you'd ever hear that. Okay, so that's good. And you're going back to Madison later today?
Softball practice at 1:30.
Good Lord, dude. Man, they're only...
I know. I'm stressed. I'm stressed thinking about it. I know, man. I know, dude. And it's fall ball. That's the sad part. So, I mean, it's. I guess this is what we do. My kids love it. I'm like, dude, are you guys ever getting sick of it? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's got a full-time job there. So, okay. All right. Well, let's just dive in. I mean, everybody, I was on some of the message boards last night. You would think that the sky is falling, and yet we're 7-0. And like I mentioned, Alabama lost. So we are the only team in the SEC West without a conference loss, without a loss period. But I understand some of the sentiment. There were some mixed feelings, like you mentioned, just because of what the expectations were, considering what Auburn had been putting on the field, at least from an offensive perspective. What's your initial assessment of how the game went yesterday?
I thought we got up 21-0, and as I'm sitting there in the stands, I'm like, okay, 21-0. Auburn's about to let go of the rope. Brian Harsin may not even be the coach at halftime. Right. I mean, I'm thinking as I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, this is setting up for Harsin may not even run out of the tunnel. He may be on a bus back home or on a car back home. We let him back in there, man. And a lot of it, I'm just going to be quite frank here. The defensive game plan yesterday just sucked. I mean, it was terrible. I mean, there's no other way to put it. The team, they can't throw the ball. So we're going to give an athletic quarterback time with his legs to run around and actually be able to make a throw. But we're also going to run 3 down where they're just sitting there running a gap scheme right down our throat all game. And I mean, dude, go out there with 3 down linemen as a linebacker and try to tackle a gap scheme. Or any kind of inside zone. I mean, when they're lining up with tight ends, wings, and I mean, just I don't understand it. I don't understand that they ran for 300 yards on us. Now, on the flip side, we ran all over them as well. 448 average, so we had a ton of yards carry. Get it, but I don't feel like that was the correct game plan on defense. I'm just being completely honest. I mean, I know that's what we're going to do. That's our defense. That's what we're going to live by, but. You saw yesterday that was the closest thing to the Arkansas, the A&Ms, the LSUs, the Alabamas that we're going to face. And that's the result we're going to get if we're going to sit there and do that. I mean, we're a guy short up front. And I understand, hey, that's our base. We're 3 down. Well, I mean, why would you give the quarterback any hope there? Like, I mean, right. And as good as our offense was yesterday, and on the flip side of that, Lane absolutely destroyed their defensive coordinator. He was absolutely exposing him. I mean, it was as I was getting up, I couldn't even handle him. I kept getting up just like, wow. Like some of the play designs yesterday, especially the one to Judkins in the flat. I mean, he was absolutely destroying Auburn's weaknesses. So we had that going for us. But I mean, defensively, man, I mean, couldn't tackle well. And that's not a good Auburn offense.
They're
terrible Auburn offense, and they looked amazing against us. And they weren't doing much. They were just lining up, running power football at us, and we're sitting there with 3 down linemen and a couple of DBs. It's not going to work SEC. It's just not. And there's going to come a time where our offense is struggling and a team like that's going to be going off on us. So, I mean, that's just my honest assessment. Anybody else watching, I mean, if you feel different, I mean, maybe you're seeing something that I'm not, but at some point when teams are averaging, 5-6 yards of carry on you and then busting all these runs, at some point, let's try something different. That's just I mean, to me, I couldn't fathom why we kept staying in that. I mean, even down on the goal line. I mean, what are we protecting against? They're not going to throw the ball on us. Pressure the kid. The kid can't throw, and then you let him sit back there and make all these plays with his legs. And I mean, I don't know. It's just disappointing. Defense was disappointing to me yesterday.
It was disappointing. We mentioned on our show earlier this week. Tank Bixby, who ran for 180 yards yesterday, who's a good SEC back. Don't get me wrong. He was great last year, the year before that. But coming into this game, he was only averaging 60 yards a game. The offensive line for Auburn, at least, they've been terrible. They're on their third string center. It's just been a really struggling season for them thus far, and we kind of breathed life into them, which was a little frustrating, if you ask me. Kind of what you were saying. I didn't understand why we stayed in that front, but then again, we could take this away as, hey, this was just a bad game for the defense. It's not indicative of how the defense is overall. It was just a game plan that didn't work, and maybe we will look better against LSU. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch LSU yesterday, but they put up 45 yards in the swamp yesterday.
Yeah,
so they are going to be formidable. They are seeming to round out a little bit on on offense. And if we can't figure that out, it's going to be a long day in Baton Rouge next Saturday.
Yeah, well, you look at the last 3 weeks. I haven't been impressed with our tackling on defense at all. Just not the greatest, tackle. So it's becoming a trend. So we're saying, hey, if it's just a bad day. No, it's become a trend the last 3 weeks. It's not been the greatest tackling, and yesterday was a little bit scary on that side. And I don't want to be gloom and doom today. We're 7-0. We're number 1 in the West. Right. Like, let's be real. Like, I'm ecstatic, dude. Kool-Aid. I mean, dude, I'm Alabama loses, man. Everything's right in front of. I mean, I feel great. I just to me, I'm not understanding what we are trying to do and stop while I'm watching a game. I mean, I was mind blown yesterday just letting them line up and pound us. And what are we protecting it? They don't throw the ball. They can't throw the ball. The kid can't throw the ball. Heat him up, make him super uncomfortable, and then stop the run on the way. If he makes one throw on you, great. But if he's going to sit back there and run around and you can't catch the kid, get yards with his legs and throw, I mean, dude, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we should have boat raced them, but we made it closer than it had to be with what we were playing defense.
For sure, and Cedric Johnson being out couldn't have helped, but you would have hoped that he would not have been such a linchpin to yesterday where we're giving up over 300 yards rushing. So we'll see how, hopefully, I think he was dressed out yesterday. I think it's an ankle injury that he's dealing with. Hopefully he'll be able to go next week because I really feel like we're going to need him. And, you know, one thing that I've seen that is as shitty as the defense played yesterday is this connection that you've got in Nick's house. So hopefully, hopefully we're able to clean that up a little bit.
Yeah, Nick may have like Cricket Wireless over here or something or whatever. I mean, he may have Comcast or whatever. What is it, Metro PCI? I don't know what he has over here.
He's got one of those modems you have to start up with a crank, apparently. So hopefully he can figure things out a little bit.
Maybe he's using one of these old school modems too. I don't even know. Good night.
All right. So yeah, the defense did not play up to the standard that we had seen earlier this season. Now, the competition has gotten tougher, so that can be somewhat expected, but poor tackling is, regardless of scheme, that is something that just can't happen with any good defense, right? So we can question the scheme, but like you said, the tackling has been really, really poor in the secondary, especially when earlier this season they were lights out. They were fantastic, and you know, we did see a good play from I believe it was AJ Finley had an unbelievable interception. He is a playmaker in that secondary. That was a fantastic play. That really. I thought that was, we were going to put the dagger in them early, right? Like you said, we went up 3 scores, and I was thinking that they're going to quit. They see that the writing is on the wall. This is going to be coach's last season. We are dominating them. But then second quarter starts, back-to-back 70-yard drives to get them right back in the game. That was just demoralizing. Long third down plays. It was it got closer than I expected it to, and I was a little uncomfortable there late second quarter, early third, where, oh, man, is it really going to be one of these games where we have to try to figure out how we're going to win this? But thankfully, the offense is good. There's nothing you can say about the offense. We didn't have to throw the ball yesterday, and we put up 48 points. That's
48 points, almost 600 yards, and Jonathan Mingo had 0 catches.
Yeah, and we had three rushers over 100 yards.
Yeah, and then you got Dayton Wade comes out of nowhere, dude. I mean, that's, I mean, the talent's just special on this team. It really is. I mean, there's guys every week. I mean, nobody has to be that guy. Like there's just guys everywhere that can play ball, and you can plug and play them in all these different schemes and plays. And I mean, dude, the Wade kid looked unbelievable yesterday. I mean, so some of the jet sweeps. I mean, he's got some real wheels and. Hit him deep, and you know, it's just it's a playmaker that showed up. You know, it's always fun. Each week there's a random guy in there that's just doing something that's like, wow, it's pretty special. I mean, I think Dart, his stats weren't eye popping, but man, he made some decent throws at times, and that we're a good running team. We got a good O-line. We got good backs, and that's our strength, and that's the fun part. And you know what I love about that is that travels. Okay, We're about to go on 2 tough road games. That's the kind of style of ball we're going to play. Where that running the football has to travel, and it's going to for us, and that's why I like where we are.
Yeah, for sure. When you talk about the offense yesterday, it just felt like Jaxson continues to make the right reads. We didn't have to make a lot of downfield throws. He had one pass that was intercepted. We'll talk about that in a second. I want to ask you something about what the analyst was talking about, but I want to talk just a little bit more about the defensive side of things. We actually have a quote from Coach Kiffin's press conference yesterday. Let's hear that real quick, and then let's discuss it a little bit more.
I mean, it was really 2 things. It was really third down plays, you know, where their quarterback would either scramble and make a play or make a big throw to keep drives alive. I think we had a 3rd and 15 and then a 3rd and 9 on the same drive. And then the inability to make tackles in the run game. You know, kind of felt like during the game, like ours was harder. Like we had to work our way down the field a lot more, and their runs were breaking, and we'd have a guy there and he'd miss the tackle. So, that's a major issue. You know, it's not the first time it showed up. So, again, we have issues on our team. They change every week, and we're 7-0, which is great, but we've got to fix these things because I keep saying it's going to get harder.
So I'm the idiot fan. Let me ask the idiot fan question here from someone that's been in locker rooms before. how hard is it to go from a 3-man front to a 4-man front midseason? And do we have the personnel for it? That's my question to you, because we've been talking about swapping that up. Is that something that's easy to do midstream in the middle of the season like this?
Yeah, I mean they have forms of 4 down in within their offense. They're a base 3 down, whatever you call that, three whatever. That's their base, but they have ways to go into 4 down, and it's situationally. I mean, if we look at what you're playing, I get it. That's what you want to do, 3 down. And I've been busting the 3 down chops forever. And then last year, Durkin turns it on. Our defense is dominant at the end of the year, so then I couldn't say a word. So I mean, there's ways that'll work, but versus certain teams though, like. You have a base, but you're probably playing. You probably should play sub. More of this game. I mean, that they're lining up, running a power with tight ends, wings. Like, of course we can't tackle. Okay, yeah. Try being a linebacker and you're in 3 down and you got free access from guards with pullers. I mean, yeah. Good luck tackling. Like we're a guy short up front. Yeah. We need one of those gaps plugged so we got better access to be able to tackle. Right, like. That goes into it as well. And, you get to the second level and you got a 195-pound guy there. Yeah. Good luck. Good luck. It's the SEC. This isn't MAC football. You're not going to be able to run through these linemen. So, I mean, I honestly, there was a point yesterday where I watched Otis Reese get his lights knocked out by a guard, and just with straight free access. He had to come downfield the gap. And, I mean, he got destroyed on a play, and that's the nature of this beast on this defense. So, it's tough. And do I think they could do a little more to help? Run support and stuff. Yeah, I do. I think, but with the fact that we sat there and kind of did the same stuff that's what's concerning to me in the run game. It's just like, and everybody saw it. I mean, it's just that, dude, they were just lining up, running the same couple plays and letting this kid, sit back there on 3rd down and make plays with his legs. And there's really wasn't much adjustment there. So that to me was a little bit concerning. And I think switch 4 down now. I mean, we don't have to switch to 4 down. In certain situations, let's add a guy. So. And they know this. I mean, they at some point it'll, hopefully they will. But man, that's my only concern is now you look over the next 4 weeks or so, minus State doesn't really run the ball like that. I mean, they're going to test our oil the next 4 weeks. I mean, they're going to check that every one of those teams can line up with big ass linemen and run the football if they need to. And if we're going to sit here and look at this, I mean, sit here and do it like this, then it's going to be the same result. I mean, we'll be giving up 300 yards plus in rushing. And, you're hoping your offense is on that day on the road. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I mean, I hope it gets better. This is kind of feels like that Arkansas game when I was so mad last year after they rushed the ball over us as well. So, but we have a great team that's able to win these games. And that's the fun part about it. But when you're up 21-0 and all of a sudden the score is 28-24, man, that can be a little discouraging. So, but hey, like Lane always says, you get to fix things. Better to fix things during a win than it is during a loss. So, these are all things that can be corrected, and it's not a talent issue.
No, it's definitely not a talent issue. And like you mentioned, we found another potential helper on offense in Dayton Wade. Jordan Watkins continued a good game. And like you mentioned, Jonathan Mingo didn't even have a catch, but he did have a play where you could say he caused it. The Jaxson Dart had 1 interception yesterday. It was a screen that did not really come to fruition. Jaxson Dart throws a bullet, hits him, and it starts bouncing around, and then ultimately picked off, which, Auburn has those lucky type plays all the time. And that was one of them, and hit like 12 different people, it felt like. So my question to you regarding that play, so I was listening, obviously, I wasn't at the game. Dan Orlovsky was the color guy, who I really like. He's really, really good. He didn't blame Jaxson Dart for that play, but one thing that he said, and I wanted to get your take on it, is, Jackson should have just thrown that ball away, not even tried to make that throw, because the timing was off on the play, right? Yeah. You could tell that the timing was off, and he tried to force something in, forcing it to happen, and that happened. Yes, if you ask Jonathan Mingo, that catch has to be made, right? It hit him in the hands pretty much. But with the timing of the play off like it was, do you kind of feel that, just get rid of that ball and let's just try it again in another play?
He should have dirted it. He should have dirt balled it right at Mingo's feet. Trying to make a play. And, honestly, that shouldn't happen. I mean, the interception should not happen. But, a lot of times on those screens, man, it's 1, 2, 3, and it needs to be on time. If there's anybody in your face or anybody messing it up, it's best just to take the dirt ball. So, I don't It's hit or miss. I mean, if it doesn't get picked, we're not even talking about it.
Right.
But yeah, you probably dirt that one and, go on to the next one. But yeah, Dan is probably right on that.
So I want to take a quick moment, mention again one of our sponsors that we have, Jeff Griffin with the Stevenson Griffin Group at Baird Private Wealth Management. They are one of our sponsors here. You can go to the group's website at stevensongriffingroup.bairdwealth.com, or you can give them a call at 662-841-1900. We want to thank them for being a sponsor on the Brad and Chad show here. So now we have a game here where, like we mentioned, we put up over 400 yards rushing. We didn't have to throw the ball unless we just absolutely had to. So those are the positives. We've already talked about the defense. How did you feel the offensive line played yesterday overall? Obviously, they played pretty well if you're able to put up 400 yards against an SEC defense. That was one of the top rushing performances by an SEC team in an SEC game, I think, since the 60s or 70s. That's pretty impressive. I don't care who you're playing against, and this wasn't Vanderbilt. This is Auburn, who traditionally recruits really well and has athletes.
Yeah, no, Auburn's front four is really good. They had some good-looking bodies. This was not chopped liver front four. I can tell you that right now. This was probably the best front that we faced, size-wise and body-wise. The offensive line's just getting better and better, man. I mean, the only thing that's killing them right now is the damn snaps. Look at we had another snap yesterday while we're driving. That at some point
is going to be a problem.
It could be detrimental. It could be fatal at some point if we don't get that cleaned up. That's the only thing we keep having that. But, man, overall, if you look at the film and just watch these guys, there was a lot of hard nose finishing the crap out of guys. Pettis in there now. I mean, he's going to get better and better. Tall guy, big guy. He's had a player or two that was bad, but for the most part, he's kind of got that Nick Broker type of mindset. Like, he's trying to finish guys, and that's what we have. I mean, dude, I watched Nick slam a dude 3 or 4 times. He texted me right after the game. He was like 480-something yards of rushing. Yeah, 447 yards rushing. That's pretty good. I'm like, dude, he literally, he pancaked 8 guys. I mean, after every play, I'm like, Nick is going to start a brawl at some point in one of these games. But I mean, but that's contagious, and I always tell them, like, hey, try to make that rub off on guys. Because younger guys that are trying to look for a style of play, I want to look when you're a young lineman, you're looking older guys. I was looking at Michael Orr, I was looking at John Jerry, I was looking always trying to find trying to find a style of play that I wanted to find myself as, and having a guy like Nick Broker in there to teach these guys, like, hey, that's the style of play I want you to adopt. And you can see it. There's some guys like out there trying to get nasty and finish some dudes, and it only, it only carries over. That's why we're rushing the ball so well. I mean, some of these holes we're getting it's phenomenal. I mean, these are good blocks that we're putting up.
Did you ever have to deal with? So in the fourth quarter yesterday, we had a lightning delay. Did you ever have to experience that in professional, or where you're in the thrust of the game? Your body is ready, all that, and then all of a sudden you've got to go and sit. Yeah, it's not like halftime. You're halfway in through the quarter or what have you. Have you had to experience something like that? What are the challenges with it?
Yeah, man, because you get up, you're so stretched out, like you're nice and warm, and you have to go sit down in your locker. You get stiff. A lot of times, best take your. I mean, if it's a long one, get the uniform off. Like try to freshen up, put on a new set of pants. Clean, fresh pants. It sucks. It really does suck, man. It's like a pitcher. When you're lightning delay with the pitcher, it's tough to get back out there and get warm. But it's not fun. And luckily, it happened like later in the game.
Right, when the game was
not like it was 28-24 or something. Yeah, the game was kind of over there. We felt like we had it in the hand there. But man, if that happens at 28-24, I'm concerned. It's not fun to do. It really is. Luckily, we're the home team in that situation to get back into our nice facility, and they had to go to the locker room. So that was nice.
Yeah, listening to the press conference from both Jaxson and Coach, it did sound like they were able to actually scheme up a little bit. So that could have been helpful, especially when you're in a situation where you want to try to put the game away. So it might have been a little bit of a blessing where they were able to go in, re-scheme things up a little bit, find a few extra plays that they can run. And after the lightning delay was over, it was pretty much over at that point. They had pretty much just sucked the life out of Auburn at that point, and there was really no other scares, I feel like, once we came back out and kind of just set the tone and ended the game. So that was good to see. Granted, it was only 5 minutes of the game, but hopefully that was a result of some of that coaching and something they can build on going into LSU next week.
Yeah, I agree. LSU's going to be a great test. I mean, it's going to be our toughest test of the year. And it has nothing to do with LSU's team. It has nothing to do with LSU's team. It has to do with the environment and what we're going to be stepping into down LSU. That we're going to be extremely hunted. Okay, LSU wants to. I mean, they're 5-2. They're looking for a solid win. Brian Kelly's looking for a solid win. We're right there on them. And this, to me, is going to be that these next two games. These are the games. These are the circle games. These are the getting over the hump. If Ole Miss wants to get there, get to Atlanta, get there. We got to get over the hump here. This is the hump of the schedule. Okay, the schedule here. We've had 2 SEC games at home, the crappiest team on the road. All the rest. This is where Ole Miss is going to kind of see. Okay, are we pretenders or are we contenders?
We've been saying it all year. We don't know what team we have. We feel like we're good. On paper, we say we're good. Now we have to play in one of the hardest environments in the league. Thankfully, it's not a night game, especially when you're talking about all those different snap problems that we've been having. That feels like a nightmare going into one of those environments. This will be, like you mentioned, the biggest test we've played all year by far. And what's going to be cool is we're actually going to have an LSU alum, Booger McFarland, is going to be on our midweek show. So we'll be able to talk to him about that environment, what he's seeing from the Tigers coming into Saturday's game. So I'm going to
ask to see Booger's hands. Have you ever seen his hands?
Dude, it's like a Swiss Army knife, right? You've got so many different tools that are going in different directions. Hopefully he doesn't hear that before our call next week. But yeah, it is. He's got hands that are doing so many different things. I mean, a cartoon artist could not draw something as crazy as those things.
Yeah, so I went. It's almost like when you're in the NFL, you almost judge by like how many bad fingers you got. It's like, oh man, you've been playing a while. This is awesome. So I went for like a little evaluation about 2 weeks ago in Houston, just standard NFL deal. And I'm in there and the guy's like, your fingers are, you got two messed up fingers. Like, you did pretty good, pretty career, man. I've seen guys come here and it's there's stuff flying everywhere. So yeah, and you don't get them fixed. Like you want these are like these are my trophies. You can get these fingers that are crazy.
Well, show me which ones.
That's my ugliest one.
Yeah,
my little pinky, dude. It doesn't even move. It's just all messed up. So, I got 2 bad ones. The rest are just jammed up knuckles. So, those fingers that have no hope.
No, they don't. Those. I couldn't even imagine trying to get a ring on those or anything. That's those are pretty impressive. So yeah, I have I bite my fingernails. So that's really the only thing that I have in terms of bad hands. So that's great. So yeah, we're pretty much the same person here. Talking about this football like men do.
You mean to tell me you didn't get any jammed up fingers at North Pontotoc?
No, I was actually, I was actually a pretty healthy person. I've got a cut on my chin that had to get glued together at halftime. And you know what, Bradley? I went back out there. Right, I'm not going to just sit there while my teammates are getting destroyed by some team that's not even that good. I'm going to go back out there, even with smelling salts, a little busted chin, and I'm going to go out there and compete because that's what competitors do, right?
No, absolutely, man. You got to get out there and get after New Albany. You got to go.
You know what? In New Albany, they were a bunch of cheap shot artists. They would hit you after the whistle, all that. And so I'm glad you got me fired up talking about New Albany now. So we're going to do the next 30 minutes discussing all the different schemes that I had to go against with the New Albany Bulldogs. So just hang tight. No, seriously though. I think one thing that we should also talk a little bit more about is the offense. 3 rushers over 100 yards. One of those being your quarterback. We didn't even know that Jaxson Dart had these types of running skills coming into this year. And there are several games where he makes the right decision, runs the ball well, gets a nice gain, and he continues to do that. He is definitely becoming much more of a dual threat quarterback than I would have ever envisioned.
Yeah, no, he's I saw it when I was watching some USC film. I just like some highlights of him. I said early on he got decent enough speed. I mean he's Chad Kelly like speed wise, like he can run, like he can run, and he's kind of smooth with it too. And he's a bigger body, maybe a little bit bigger than Corral, and dude, he's plenty capable enough in the run game, which brings us It makes it a little bit even more dangerous on offense.
Yeah, Kiffin had a good quote yesterday talking about, a lot of people have considered him a quarterback whisperer, a pass-heavy offense type situation. He didn't really see it that way. Let's listen to that, and we'll come back and discuss it a little bit more.
I'm associated with throwing the ball, but, that was awesome to see today. And, the other way is fun, but, this is more demoralizing, to a team when you're able to, continue to run the ball like that. And you saw a lot of guys go down for them and, we're able to wear them down. And right before the lightning delay cues run, finally broke. So it was good.
As an offensive lineman, is there a better feeling knowing that we're about to run the ball down your throat? You can't stop it. You know it's coming, and we're just going to keep doing it all day?
Yeah, so as an O-line, that running the football is like you almost fight for it in like the first 15, because that's the easier game. Okay, the last thing you want to do as an O-lineman is say, "Hey, I'm facing Von Miller. Let's go throw the ball 50 times. Give me 50 chances to give up a sack." Heck no. Hey, there's nothing easier not easier, but there's nothing better than a run play. And it shortens the game. It's when it's harder to see when you mess up a run block, but when you get out there, first 15 comes up, you're going, hey, coach is running 8, 9, 10 run plays. You're like, yeah, I'll take 12 if he'll give it to me. So we'd always say early on, like, hey, let's get 4 or 5 yards to carry at least and try to break one early. So coach is thinking, hey, we can run the ball today. So it's a much more lineman friendly game. And you don't want to be out there. No lineman wants to be out there pass blocking. Every lineman wants to be out there run blocking and smashing guys and kind of controlling the game themselves. So yeah, it's being able to line up and absolutely destroy guys. That's a fun deal to play in. And, you take some pride in it, and our guys are certainly doing that. We've got to be tops in the nation in rushing. I haven't checked
we're top 5. I haven't seen the most updated stats, but we were top 5 coming into yesterday, and I can't imagine that a 448-yard effort is going to knock us down any further. 6.5 yards per carry. That's going to keep you in any game that you want to play in. I don't care. When you're averaging almost over half of what you need for a first down every time you touch the ball. The offense is going to continue. The defense just cannot put us in a position where the offense is having to play catch up.
Speaking of Jaxson Dart's running ability, you look at the teams are starting to respect it, and I think Lane knows that. And you look at some of the schemes he was doing against Auburn's defense coordinator. He took Auburn's defensive coordinator out to the and spanked him yesterday. It was like he daddied him. Lane daddied him yesterday. It was bad. So that the one play, it was like the pop pass when Jaxson Dart, all game we've been faking the little run. He does a little run, dude. Everybody comes up, and I stood up and I was like, man, thank gosh we have a legit coach. We have a coach that is out here exposing schemes. And, the Jaxson Dart was perfect setup. Looked like he was about to do that same QB run he's done a few other times and pop big. Everybody comes crashing down, boom. Just a little pop pass out the gate. That kind of stuff is stuff that has not been at Ole Miss in a long time. And that's even when Freeze was here. Okay. Like Kiffin, some of the way he's exposing these matchups, you look at the play to Juckins yesterday, they're running a form of man, he puts Juckins out in the slot. He motions him across. Well, hey, it's hard for the guy to track him all the way across the field. Well, hey, now a DB has to switch to him. You got a one-on-one matchup with Juckins in the flat. I'll take that all day. So he's the little stuff that you see on offense that Kiffin's doing to expose these defenses. It's NFL style stuff. It's what a smart offense coordinator does to a not saying that Auburn defense coordinator not a smart guy, but not quite on that level. You're just not quite on Lane's level when it comes to schematics.
The one thing that I wanted to ask you about is it did feel like in the first few drives of the game, because we scored on the third drive. That was our first score. On third down and even on fourth down, it felt like we were just playing very conservative, very vanilla, just runs up the middle, and Auburn was stopping it. Did you feel like that was an opportunity that Lane was setting up for something down later in the game, or it was just plays we didn't execute very well? Because there was like a 3rd and 4 that we just tried to run it up the middle. We hardly got anything. And then on fourth down, we either punted or we had a turnover on downs. I was a little curious because of, the attempts to run the sweeps outside. We didn't go that route. We just tried to run it up the middle, and it just got stuffed.
Yeah, well, early on, you kind of want to see what they're playing you. It's common. It's common to have a few plays that don't go so well. But once you kind of see what they're playing, I think Lane saw, hey, well, the middle they're trying to stack. Well, here's Dayton Wade for out the gate on the sweep. So. I thought early on it was kind of like when you're playing golf and you hit a few bad shots, but your swing feels great. He's like, okay, I know I'm going to shoot a good round. It's just a matter of time before it comes. And that was yesterday. It was like, hey, we were moving the ball. We had a bad snap there. I was like, the plays are there to be made. You can kind of see, it was there. And, I knew, I was like, man, we're going to have a good day. I didn't think Auburn was going to be able to stop us. So it was, he definitely, early on they were up the middle. They thought they were going to shut down the inside zone, which was fine. And then we went to the perimeter, and then they had to respect it all. And you got QB runs in there. You got enough, and they had to play. They had to take their chances otherwise, and that's when the middle opened up for us.
I'm glad you have golf experiences like that where you actually feel good. That's encouraging, knowing that other people can do that, because usually I just hit everything thin on my irons, or I am, hitting massive slices with my driver. So I'm glad to know that people are able to have good days on the course. So that was actually.
Well, it's because you're trying to muscle it. If you're hitting it thin, you're trying to muscle it, right? And you got to have some slow and smooth, baby. Fred Couples, Ernie Els. You got to have those kind of swings.
Yeah, I'm just violent. I don't do anything with it. I don't even look good swinging a club. I'm just trying to swing it as hard as I can. And it shows. Like if you watch our intro, you'll see me just basically muscling a ball into that screen that was in your old house in Oxford. Yeah, it's ugly, but that's okay. That's the way we do things here. Now,
maybe it's the blue deltas that are tight on your legs that are causing you.
There's so much power in these legs. That's what it is. My upper half can't catch up with it. I think that's what I need to retool a little bit, is my upper body, because it's not able to catch up with all the power that my legs are driving. So I'm glad you thought that. You've got some coaching ability. But one thing that doesn't suck, Nest and Wild mattresses. Backed by a 99-night guarantee.
Dude, I feel like there needs to be a YouTube channel for seamless ad reads.
It wouldn't be me. It would just be people groaning as I intro products. But yeah, for real though, Nest and Wild, great mattresses. Like I mentioned, backed by a 99-night guarantee. You can find them on nestandwild.com. Years of experience in the comfort industry, building the best possible mattress on the market. We love those guys. They do great work, built right here in the state of Mississippi. So you're buying a local product, a product built in the USA. So give those guys a try if you're looking for a new mattress in your life. Bradley, interesting day around the SEC. So we're about to hit the meat of the schedule, and teams are not getting worse. They're getting better in terms of the teams that we have to play. We've already mentioned that we've got LSU coming up on Saturday in Baton Rouge. They went into Gainesville and they won pretty convincingly. They won by 10 against, I don't really know what Florida is. They're decent. They're not terrible. They beat Utah, who beat USC, even though they beat them doesn't really work. But LSU is going to be a good team. Did you get a chance to check out any of their game yesterday?
I did not. I watched some highlights, so I always watch all the SEC highlights. I'm just starting to think Florida's not that good.
I'm starting to think that too.
I know they're not that. I just know they're not that good. I think they're a little ways away. We keep looking at all these teams beat Florida. Kentucky beat them, which Mississippi State I finally picked against them, and it finally helped me. And even Missouri gave them a game, right? Like, didn't Missouri play? Crappy Missouri play.
If Missouri's giving you a game, then you're not good. That's kind of what I've learned so far this season.
Can we sell Missouri? Can we trade them out of the SEC, please?
Yeah, we'll take Southeast Missouri State. That'd be cool. I'd be fine with that.
I get so embarrassed when it's like Missouri is like, I don't even know. Like,
or go to hell, Missouri.
I'd rather see Mo than Missouri, I think.
Our Go to Hell Mizzou segment is just getting rave reviews all the way through the internet. So I think there's a Reddit thread that's opening up about that. But talking a little bit more about the SEC, our picks. So you have somehow, I'm not sure what kind of voodoo magic you're putting on. You've caught up to me with our picks that are just really, if we're being, they're awful. We're 12-13, both of us collectively so far.
That's how Vegas designed.
Exactly. Yeah, you went 4-2 yesterday. I went 3-3. We both picked against Tennessee. They won outright, which that was a bananas game. Tennessee's a good team. That game against Georgia coming up in a few weeks, that's going to be something to watch. I'm really excited to see that game.
Yeah, that is going to be something to watch. I had two ladies come to me. They're listeners of the show. While I was at the game, and they made sure they remind me. Yep. One I know is going to for sure be listening to this today, tomorrow. They reminded me how terrible we are at picking. They're like, she was like, I am glad that I actually don't take your picks into account. So, I mean, I'm like, man, I'm just getting cracked on by some middle-aged ladies. This is great. So, we're about to get hot here. Don't let Brad get hot. Don't let Brad get hot in these picks.
I've never been hot, so I don't have to worry about that. I've never been hot, so nothing I have to worry about. Arkansas continued to show that they have no defense, but their offense really stepped up. BYU's a good team. They won on the road in Provo, which was that's impressive. Anytime you have to go to a high altitude place, they were able to win. I knew that the state game against Kentucky was going to be close. I thought State was going to win, but man, they dropped a really winnable game yesterday. They dropped a really winnable game against a Kentucky team that, they had Will Levis back, but they're not better than State. But State really shot themselves in the foot. Now they've got to go and play a pissed off Alabama team in Tuscaloosa next week.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be interesting. In classic State fashion, they'll knock off Alabama or something.
Yeah.
Mike leads to the core right there. Let's go lose Kentucky while everything's right in front of us. And, then Alabama. I mean, Alabama, man, they're just, dude, I'm telling you. Tennessee's very good. I like this Tennessee team. This is a good football. And then Hooker, if you talk to some of the scouts and stuff, Hooker may be the guy. Hooker and the Kentucky quarterback. I mean, Hooker's like the trending guy right now. Everybody's like, man, he may be the top pick this year or the top guy. So
their best receiver hasn't been playing either, which is the scary part.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing, that they still have some weapons. But what's so interesting about Alabama is how undisciplined they've looked. I think at one point they had 16 penalties yesterday, and they might have had a few more towards the end. That's something that you don't see with the Nick Saban team. I pity the guys going to practice on Tuesday in Tuscaloosa this week, because I can't imagine it's going to be good.
Yeah, no, it's, man. Classic Nick Saban right here. He's going to destroy those guys, if I'd imagine. It's not going to be fun at practice. So, and the pressure builds. I mean, they've been so good for so long, and I feel like over the last couple of years, Alabama's good. Don't get me wrong; they're a great program, but people are catching them. People are catching them. Georgia has caught them and probably passed them right now. People like Tennessee are coming on. Like, man, it's these games are close. Alabama could easily have 3 losses right now.
Yeah.
Easily be a 3-loss team. Escaped A&M, escaped Texas. I don't know how they escaped that game, but they escaped Texas. They're good. They got talent. Don't get me wrong, but this is a very beatable Alabama team, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this season goes. I really am excited. Those next 2 weeks and get a good crack at them at home.
It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game in Oxford.
It is. And people talk about, are we really a top 10 team? Look, when you look around the country, there's maybe 3 or 4 elite teams, right? You've got Ohio State, you've got Georgia, you've got maybe Tennessee at this point. Alabama's still a good team. we're as good as your TCUs, your Oklahoma States. We're a top 10 team. Now, whether or not that means that we are able to go up with the big boys, that remains to be seen, considering what we have left on the schedule. The good thing is we're going to get a chance to see that. We're going to get a chance to see Lane and them go back into the lab, retool things, maybe change some things up on defense. They're going to keep it rolling on offense. Why change anything there? So, yeah, you can question whether or not we're a top 10 team, but I would just rephrase, or I would ask you, there's not 10 great teams that are out there right now. I mean, there's a lot more parity, especially with the transfer portal now in college. There's not a ton of outstanding teams like Georgia last year, Alabama a few years ago. There's not going to be as many of those teams, it feels like, going forward, considering how fluid rosters are now.
Yeah, no, the parity is real. You look at our team. Our team is an amazing story, and we lost all of our offensive production. We're a better team this year. Welcome to the transfer portal. Welcome to paying players and NIL deals. And it's, heck, I'm just like an NFL team now. I don't care if I miss out on a high school recruit. I'll go buy me a quarterback that's mad, a 5-star quarterback from Georgia that's not getting to play. I mean, you look at yesterday. You got Evans, Judkins, and Jaxson Dart. I mean, those are big players that all weren't even here last year, and they're better than. I mean, they're as good as anybody you could have brought in. So, there's no recruiting to me. High school recruiting to me is what it is now. It doesn't even matter. I'll go get another freshman that actually had a year of training, essentially in college football, and he's gonna be way farther along than a high school kid. So, I mean, it's wild.
It is. And, we've got a few more days before we'll talk LSU. So be on the lookout for our midweek show with LSU. Like we said, Booger McFarland's going to be our guest on that. So make sure you check that out. Like and subscribe wherever you get a chance. There's Nick Weaver's very strange. Was that the Delties? All right. Yeah, he's just really has some.
The Delties 2019. We'll have to get Nick to figure out his. I've been looking at his trophy the whole time. It's the Delties. If somebody knows what the Delties 2019 is on the podcast, let us know.
Maybe he can pawn that for some dial-up internet that's worth a shit in his house. Maybe he can do that.
Yeah, sorry about the internet today, man. This is all on Nick again, man. At what's his Twitter handle? Adam and
BDJ to complain about his internet. I'll start giving out his work email address in later shows so we can really get some traction on some of if he's going to be a sponsor. By the way, Blue Delta Jeans, fantastic jeans made right here in the USA. Go to bluedeltajeans.com. You can use their e-tailer to get yourself fitted without even having to go into their studio. So fantastic product, terrible owner. Nick Weaver has terrible internet. So if you're going to judge Blue Delta Jeans, just judge them on the fact that his internet is bad, but still buy their product. They make a fantastic.
We need to have a score on that we rag on the most, Nick Weaver or the University of Missouri.
Yeah, we'll have to do a battle. It may have to be Nick because I barely understood that question coming out because your internet is so bad at this point. But yeah, it is definitely neck and neck between Nick and Missouri. So hopefully you'll be back down in Madison for our midweek show. It's going to be great there for our midweek show with Booger McFarland. Don't forget, like and subscribe wherever you find your podcast, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Make sure you give us a like. Make sure you subscribe. That way you know when our new shows are coming out. We'll see you again middle of the week. We're talking LSU. Booger McFarland will be there. Bradley, we're 7-0, first place in the SEC West. Doesn't get much better than that. Hotty Toddy, my friend.
Hotty Toddy. See you, Chad.
Thanks for listening to the Brad and Chad Show. Follow the boys on social media for more content. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. This has been an OM Network production, brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA.